Hello guys, it's me V Clifto bringing you a guide to Riven. Riven is by far one of my favorite top laners because she's allowed to build tanky, but allowed to build only a couple of attack items and deal a lot of damage, or you can build full damage and she just instantly destroys people. But she is I'd say she's a very high skill cap champion, so she takes a little bit of skill to actually get used to, and one thing is I find her to be very weak in the early game. I mean, she has actually probably one of the strongest level 1 or level 2s, but after that, once you hit like level 3, most champions can deal with her pretty well until she gets some gold. So in the beginning of the game, you should probably start off by just farming, because you aren't going to be able to get many kills in the beginning. I mean, yeah, there is possible, but a lot of times you will not be able to get a kill. In this gameplay, in this video, I start off with one gameplay and then I transition to little clips like I did for the last video. So I hope you enjoy. This gameplay is against Teemo, which theoretically is kind of like a counter to me, but I'm also kind of a counter to Teemo because Teemo's squishy. So how I play this game is I just play the CS game, is I want to be able to at least stay within a certain amount of CS, and that's pretty much how you beat Teemo, is once you get your ultimate, and if you keep your CS up and you're allowed to at least trade a kill at level 6, you're typically in a good spot with against a Teemo. Just a little tip. But let's start off with her passive. Her passive is called Runic Blade. Runic Blade, what it does is after every use of an ability, you gain a enhanced auto attack, which will deal, damage after the auto attack. So, after every ability, you get your auto attack afterwards is really strong, and I would say this is by far the most strongest passive in the game, because it really is her core, and it really if you don't utilize it, you're gonna really not have a good game. If you don't utilize her passive, you're gonna lose lane. You're not gonna be able to do, I mean, even a third of her power. So you have to be conscious of using an auto attack after every single ability. You get 3 charges. I'll tell you later about the different. You would say, okay, so you have Q, W, and E, and you should be able to just you'll be able to use all 3 of them. But there's a little thing about Q, but I'll get to it. But you really want to be able to keep in mind that you have all your little stacks, and that you can use your auto attack after every, you don't have to use it after every ability, but you have 3. It'll go up to 3. If you don't use it after a few seconds, it will go away. What else? It will go away. If you used a 4th ability, it will only have 3 stacks, so you got to be conscious of your stacks. So then let's go into your Q, which is Broken Wings. Broken Wings allows you to do an area of effect slash in front of you, so it's like a kind of a cone in front of you. It will deal damage to multiple targets if it's within the little area. You actually get three times usage of it. You get to do three uses of your Broken Wings. So on the 3rd Broken Wing, you get to do kind of like a hop. This hop has 2 things. One, it will not, if you hit it on somebody, it will knock some people up. And if there are some walls that you can jump over. I wasn't planning on actually planning on showing you all the walls. That would just take forever. And I don't have perfect use of it, but you can jump over the littler walls. It used to be you could jump over a lot more walls, but they have lowered the range of it. So it's just a little tool. You can use it to run away. The Q ability does let you be a little bit more mobile than most champions. allowing you to get out of situations, and if you get a little bit of cooldown reduction, you can do a lot of damage with it, and also you can get out of fights real quick because it gives you a little bit of a dash. So it is it's a very good ability. It is very strong. It is her key damage other than her ultimate. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to keep using your auto attacks after every single Q. And there is a combo to be able to do everything quicker. It is a auto attack resetting. So if you use an auto attack and if you're halfway through the auto attack and you use your Q, it will stop the full you won't do the full animation. You'll just do like half the animation, so you can do your combo quicker. There is also another way to getting out of the Q, and I'm not really good at it. You gotta look up there's plenty of other combo guides. I don't use it. If you're not at least diamond, it really won't affect you, really. I think if you're gold and below, you really won't need to know the full combo. With that, let me think. Alright, so then we're going to just go over to, that's your first point you should put a point into. The second point you should put a point into is your E, which is Valor. Valor lets you, it's a little dash, but the dash also gives you a shield, and the shield actually scales off of how much damage you have. So the more damage you have, the more shield the bigger the shield, and that means building full damage is not actually a bad idea. You will get focused, so that's kind of the reason why it's a bad idea. But if you do build full damage, that shield is very strong and it will dodge a lot of damage. Later in this video, I have a point which I dodge. I use it to just like negate one of the Teemo shrooms. It's kind of funny. I thought I was gonna die, but after using the shield, I was able to survive. So it is very good. The dash will allow you to gap close and shield a lot of damage. It will also let you, that's pretty much it. It is just part of it. You want to be able to use your Q to, your E to negate a lot of damage. It is very good, and to gap close. Finally, you would want to put a point into your W, which is Key Burst. Key Burst is a little area of effect. Does a little bit of damage, but it's mostly a stun, allowing you to stun your opponent. You can get multiple stuns off. It isn't very long stun, but it is just a stun so that you can stay close enough to be able to kill your opponent. And finally, you would want to put a point into your R, which is Blade of the Exile. What happens is once you use your R, it has two different parts to it. Part one is a passive kind of like thing where once you activate it, you gain bonus range and you gain bonus damage. It is 20% damage, so once you activate it, you will get bonus damage. This will allow you to win most of your fights with that extra damage. It is a very good 1v1 ability. Actually, it's very good. I like using it sometimes to 1v3 people. If you're that far ahead of people, then it is very good ability. The second part is you get to use this one wind slash, and the wind slash is considered execution move. So the more hurt they are, the more damage you will do. So you have to keep that in mind, that once you if you're going to use this ability, you want to use it when people are lower health. It does kind of like at the end of the game, it will do like 300 damage to a full health target, or it will do 1,000 damage to someone that's almost weak. So it will guarantee kills. At the end of this game, the whole team has everybody had a guardian angel, and it makes it easier for you to know when to actually use that little wind slash, because once they come back from that guardian angel, it's almost a 90% guaranteed kill with that wind slash. So if they are building GAs, you probably should wait until they actually use that, until they pop it, so that you can easily get the kill. I do it like 3 times, and it gives me some easy kills in this game. So that's all her abilities. You want to start off by maxing her Q, and then maxing her her E, which, you know, oh, it doesn't do damage, but why would you want to do that? It allows you to get a little bit more mobility, but also because it will allow you to shield a lot more damage and do it quicker. So very good. And then you want to max your W third and putting a point into your ultimate at 6, 11, and 16. So let's start off with her starting items, or her items. But her starting items is actually, you can start off with almost any item that you could buy, except for something that would deal with mana. You do not want mana because she does not run on mana. She runs fully on cooldown reduction because she has no energy or anything. It's just how fast you can spam your abilities. But there are plenty of, actually, I've used a lot of different ones. For a defensive build, you could use a Doran Shield, or a Ruby Crystal, or a Cloth Armor, depending on your matchup. I've used all three of them. They're all good. It just, you gotta look at, if you confuse on who your opponent is, it may weaken you, actually. So you have to you kind of have to be sure that you know who your opponent is. And the offensive items are the same way, because you can have a Doran's Blade or a longsword. A longsword in 3 health pots would probably be, if you feel like you can easily farm that lane. Get a longsword in the 3 health pots. You may not be able to you may be able to do just enough to win the to get enough CS to get your first item, and it would be a little bit more gold efficient, I guess, if you could last the early game. Or the Doran's Blade would be if you're going to get a little bit harassed, you're going to have to farm from a distance. You want a little bit of that lifesteal, a little bit of health. That is a great choice. Just depending on what your matchup is. I'm kind of sad that the magic resist item isn't that good. No, it is good, but the magic resist item is worth 500 gold. It's kind of like, why wouldn't they let you buy it? But I mean, you can just buy it at Ruby Crystal if you feel like you're gonna be threatened in lane. On your first time back, you want to buy, and I've seen a lot of people buy different things. A lot of people want to start building toward a Black Cleaver or a Youmuu's Ghostblade by building the Brutalizer. That's what a lot of people build. It gives you cooldown reduction, gives you the armor penetration. And I've seen people do it, and I play against a Riven who did buy it first. They do have a stronger, like, early, it's kind of like an early game, but it's like, once I get my item, which I'm going to tell you, once you get your item, you are stronger than the Brutalizer build. So I prefer this build because it's just always worked for me. I haven't actually done much of a Brutalizer first. A lot of people like doing the Brutalizer first. It just, I guess it could depend on who your matchup is. But what I build first is I try to go back and I build the Tiamat. The Tiamat is very good for farming. It will allow you to almost easily out-farm your opponent. She has very good wave clear as it is, but with that Tiamat, it will allow her to easily farm. And then I like to finish off the Hydra for the lifesteal, because if you may become ahead, but you kind of want that little bit of lifesteal so that when you get into a fight, you don't instantly die, and that you have something to keep you alive. Some people would actually, if they were going to do the Tiamat first, they would build the Brutalizer second so that they could easily burst them down. Preferably, I prefer to use just the Ravenous, get the whole Ravenous Hydra done. Then the second item, which is a Last Whisper, to get through all that armor that they're going to try to build against you, because once you kill them a couple times, they may start building armor, but also it will deal a lot of extra damage. It'll allow you to use your ultimate and just instantly destroy people. Once I got my Last Whisper and Hydra, I could easily, like, if Teemo gets actually kind of fed this game, but if Teemo didn't get too much ahead, I could easily 1v1 him, and if I came from the Fog of War, I'd instantly just blow him up. I'd have no problem blowing him up. But I guess he kind of got fed. I didn't feed him in lane, but he got kind of fed, so I couldn't really do it anymore. But with those two items, it does seem kind of like my Darius build, where you get those two items, but a lot of bruisers work very well off that Hydra and Last Whisper combo. With these two items, you could just say that that's all the damage you needed. That's all the damage she really does need to be pretty effective in lane. She could just build straight tank after this, but I have a little bit of a... I have a few different builds and different items that you could use if you wanted to. After the Last Whisper, I like to build a Boots of Lucidity, which is the cooldown reduction boots. Because she works clearly or fully on cooldowns, her damage will increase a lot if you just have her cooldowns. She does a lot more damage if she can use her abilities a lot more quickly. So I love using the Boots of Lucidity. Next I build is a Guardian Angel. The ability to come back to life is strong, and especially on her, she has so much damage. If she comes back to life, you can gain in fights. When she's fighting people, she gains a lot of health right back. It's just really amazing with how much health she brings back with that. Just the Hydra. Finally, this would just be my recommended build for almost any game. If it was a regular team comp, I would build a Randuin's Omen. This is to allow you to 1v1 any you could 1v1 any AD champion, because you'll lower their attack speed and it'll allow you to easily win the fight. So a Omen is very strong. And then for the final item I would build is a Maw of Malmortius. This would be a build for any... this is just a blind whatever, but she has plenty of other items she can build. Maw of Malmortius would just give you that little shield and gives you a little bit of magic resist. With that and your Guardian Angel, you should be just tanky enough to be able to fight almost any team fight and to be plenty. I love what I find her to be not the strongest team fighting champion. She doesn't, she's alright, but she is singly focused out really easily. She is actually better at coming in at the end of the fight because of her ultimate. She can execute a lot of people. But if she comes in at the end of the fight, I'm very confident with her to 1v3, like 3 or 4 people that have half health. She is no problem to play if they're in that position, because you just hurt a lot of them, and then you ult like 3 of them and they're all dead, and then you can just kill the last person. She is very strong cleanup champion. I wouldn't say she's the strongest team fighting champion. There are a few other items. For offense, if you want, I've actually played her in the mid lane. Who I'd play her in the mid lane against is melee mid laners. If you knew you were playing against a melee mid laner, I would actually play her in the mid lane. I wouldn't play her against a lot of mid laner champions. She probably could do fine in the mid lane against some of those champions, like if she just got her Tiamat, which is her key item, I think she could do pretty decent in the mid lane. I've actually played a mid lane game with her, and I carried really hard. I went against a Talon, though, so playing against a melee champion is probably the better option if you're going to play her in the mid lane. But an item that I like using that will allow you to deal a lot more damage is a Trintiy Force. With that and your passive, you allow yourself to just deal just massive amounts of damage. Just so much amounts of damage if you have that Trintiy Force. Another item is the Bloodthirster. You could build this just so you would have plenty of lifesteal. With that, you should be able to build plenty of lifesteal if you wanted to. Another item that you could build is with both, a Black Cleaver and a Youmuu's Ghostblade. With the Youmuu's, you will give you a little bit more mobility. Also, armor penetration, so that you're dealing almost full damage with it. You will be able to just deal so much if you have that Black Cleaver or Youmuu's Ghostblade. For defensive items, you would probably want to build a Spirit Visage, very good item. For that, Warmogs would be a decent item, just getting that, just extra health. Righteous Glory, I would say it's actually a decent item, because it will allow you to gain a lot of, well, I mean, you kind of would lose out on all that mana, but it would give you kind of a speed up, so, I mean, you may want to use it. A Thornmail, it would be decent if you're going against a pretty attack-heavy comp, or a Banshee's Veil would be also a very good comp. This just shows you the burst. If you just have your flash, and you just flash, dash, stun, and you can easily kill anybody if you have your ultimate. I love using it. I use it plenty of times in this gameplay. But one other quick tip is that your passive doesn't work on towers or structures. It won't let you do that bonus damage. So that's why maybe a Trintiy Force may be actually a little bit useful to help take down towers. Other than that, that's pretty much it. There are plenty of guides out there, and if you want to see a very, very good video, go look up the time when Box, he is by far the most known Riven player. But if you want to know, go watch the time when he played when he didn't have a keyboard. That is such a crazy time when he played that. I was like, oh my gosh, that was just crazy. So that is a very good time. But I hope you enjoyed. This has been V Clifto, and I'm signing off. Stay cool, my friends.